Tonight we're going to talk about how do we determine what is more and what is less. And is it true that less is more or is more better? And as everything, it will depend from the point of view that we adopt. Uh, so I'll share a little bit of my journey and then we'll take it from there. So at one point, I had stuff and status somewhat. And I realized it was not fulfilling for me because it was all kind of like empty. So then I went on a minimalist journey. The stuff and status disappeared. I gave it up. And I started to find what is really fulfilling for me. And I realized what's fulfilling for me is adventure, travel, being in nature, animals, making real connections with people. And that turned out to be more, although it appeared that I have less because I don't own national parks or a bunch of animals. Um, I actually was enjoying a lot more because thanks to having less, I was able to travel and do the things that I liked and enjoy more. And it's interesting also how a lot of times, because people feel less, they will acquire a lot so they could feel more. So you can meet a person that has status, that has a lot of stuff, cars, houses, but because the motivation to get those things has been that on the inside they feel less and they feel a lot of fear and guilt and shame and worry and anxiety. Even though they have those things, on the inside they still feel less. And no matter how much they have, they always want more because they're trying to fill that void on the inside, which can only be filled with self love and compassion and kindness and understanding and mostly love. What things and status and people that get impressed by things and status who are equally empty on the inside, hence it's impossible to form true connection. Which I'm not saying that everybody who has status and things is motivated by less. A lot of times these things come to people because they're motivated for more. They want to serve more. They want to reach more people with their talents and gifts. And based on that, they also acquire more physical things. So, also, when we compare ourselves, it's never equal because you can compare yourself to a person that has a lot of stuff, but if they've been motivated by feeling less than on the inside and not enough, uh, maybe you're better off if you feel good about yourself and enough, and even if you don't have that stuff. And also, it goes to values. If you live a life according to your values, you immediately have more versus a person that can seemingly own more, but because they don't have integrity, they're actually less. So that's why it's not good to put people on pedestals. And also, if you are in the presence or you see somebody that seemingly is rich, whether in inner qualities or in things that they own, instead of going into jealousy and comparison or, demeaning yourself and feeling less than, you can go into inspiration and see, maybe it's like, oh wow, I love how generous this person is. Or, oh wow, I love, how compassionate this person is. Or how much joy that they have. And then ask yourself the question, how can I develop more joy, compassion, generosity in my life? And then those opportunities will come, and when they come, take them. Or you see somebody that is doing really well in their business or art or craft, and you can follow them, give them their flowers, and simply by being in their energy, soak up that vibe of success and believe in oneself, and uh, having joy from the work that you do and blessing a lot of people with that work, and admire that person and say, wow, whatever they have and more, I love that. Thank you, God. Thank you, universe. So, this is the way to approach it, according to me, of course. And it's beautiful because the uh, impetus of life is growth. But when we talk about growth, we're not talking about growth only in one direction, but developing uh, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And if we develop a lot in one area but neglect like some of the others, then life is always a little bit unbalanced. And sometimes there's a time where you're developing more emotionally because, let's say, physically you're stable and mentally you're stable. And the mental and emotional are very closely linked. I mean, they're all very closely linked. Um, but sometimes you're developing a little bit more spiritually. Um, and that goes with emotionality as well. Uh, and it's good to kind of keep track of all of these aspects, uh, and daily try to do something that caters to everything. For example, for me, walking does it because I know that when I walk, it keeps my body fit. Uh, it keeps my mind more focused and centered and clear. It keeps me happy because I enjoy being in nature and seeing the trees that I love and different little animals that show up and seeing people that I see every day and just smiling at them and greeting them and them greeting me back. So I have this sense of connection and belonging. And it's spiritually very nurturing because I'm walking and I'm by myself, and I have these moments, especially if I go at sunrise or sunset or in winter when it's really cold, and I have these moments of noticing something and having like a more of a deeper feeling and stillness, and I can take a pause and just be in the moment and appreciate it. So you can find something that you can do daily, and it doesn't have to take a lot of time. Uh, but you can spare an hour for your well being. And the more we nurture our well being, it could be, like listening to music while you're exercising, or listening to a podcast or a book, or um, something that is feeding your mind, and you're accomplishing a couple of things at the same time. But it's important to do that for ourselves uh, daily. And when we take care of our own well being in all of these four aspects, then we can show up for ourselves and others, and we can contribute to their well being as well. And it's beautiful because in this way we can all pour into each other, and we can be grateful for the people that create exercise videos on YouTube, and people that read books and make podcasts, and music and art, and people that write books on spirituality and share spiritual practices and their wisdom gained from having an open crown chakra. And it's beautiful how we all serve as vessels for the divine and blessings for one another. So there is really no more or less. but it's basically different degrees of fullness or emptiness. And we can always, when we feel less, pour a little more into ourselves. And when we feel more, share a little more with others. And this is how we stay in balance. The end.